You can usually tell a lot about somebody by how they treat their tools. Before you begin using a tool or piece of equipment, check that all guards and safety devices are in place and operating. Never remove, pin back, or otherwise defeat guards. They are there for your protection. Make sure that all power cords and plugs and connectors are intact and operating correctly. Repair defects immediately or remove the tool from service until it is properly repaired. Some tools and equipment require training before use. Never operate any of these tools without training and authorization from your foreman. If you have any questions about the equipment or tools you use, be sure to see your foreman or supervisor. Use the right tool for the job, no substitutes. For example, never use a screwdriver in place of a chisel or a shovel instead of a crowbar. Inspect all pneumatic and hydraulic connections for damage before each use. If repairs can't be made, remove the equipment from service. Compressor, pneumatic, and hydraulic connections are all to be secured with a clip, wire, or whip at all times. Be sure to bleed pressurized hoses before you disconnect them. And never use compressed air or oxygen to blow dirt or dust from clothing. The force of the air can actually drive dirt and debris under your skin. Be advised that your driving record will be scrutinized and that DUI convictions or other bad driving records may make you ineligible to drive company vehicles. Never get behind the wheel of any equipment you have not been trained or authorized to operate. And don't pick up riders. No one is allowed to ride on a machine or vehicle unless it is provided with a stationary seat and a seat belt. This includes construction equipment and trucks. Tuck in, tie back, or button up loose clothing, hair, and jewelry when working around machinery. These items can easily be entangled in the equipment. Do not work close to power lines. As a general rule, stay at least 10 feet away from overhead electrical lines. Never try to repair equipment while it is moving or operating. Don't oil or lubricate any machinery while it is in service unless it is specifically designed for this. Likewise, never work under any equipment or vehicle unless the brakes are properly set and the weight is supported. Use jack stands, wheel chocks, and blocks in all cases. Use lockout, tagout procedures whenever the possibility exists that the equipment, vehicle, or machine may be started by someone other than the person working on it. Cranes and boom arms are to be used only by authorized personnel.
That's my ladder!
The designated competent person, that's a person officially qualified by training or experience, shall have the complete authority to suspend work and remove employees from exposure to excavation and trench hazards until those hazards have been corrected. Never enter any excavation that is 5 feet or deeper unless it is properly shored or sloped, and a competent person has determined it is safe. Differing sites and soils require shoring at different depths. All shoring must be installed from the top down and removed from the bottom up. Trenches and excavations must be inspected by a competent person at the beginning of each shift and following any ground shifting event, such as an earthquake, rainstorm, freeze, or thaw. Make sure all spoils and tailings are far enough away from the edge of the trench or excavation. 2 feet is the absolute minimum. Trenches 4 feet or deeper shall have a ladder or other means of exit within 25 feet of all employees working in the trench. Do not climb on trench shoring or bracing. This can weaken or compromise the bracing structure. If a trench is wider than 30 inches and more than 6 feet deep, only cross by way of a walkway or bridge with standard guardrails. To minimize pressure on sidewalls, position cranes, trenchers, backhoes, trucks, and other heavy equipment away from trench edges. Before you start backfilling, Visually inspect all trenches and excavations to make sure all people, tools, and equipment are clear. Never operate heavy equipment above slopes, cuts, or banks with people working below. Likewise, don't operate equipment where the extreme slope, wet conditions, or possibility of cave-in increases the chances of a rollover. Building scaffolds can be tricky work. That's why all scaffolds need to be erected under the supervision of a designated competent person. Before setting up a ladder, take time to look it over. If you notice significant defect or damage, remove the ladder from service immediately. When placing extension ladders, remember the 4-to-1 ratio. That means that for every 4 feet in height, you must place the ladder 1 foot out from the wall. Make sure safety feet are attached. Also, with extension ladders and job-built ladders, the ladder must extend at least 3 feet beyond the landing area to allow for safe transition to and from the ladder. Be sure to tie the ladder down to the landing area. Never stand on the last rung of a step ladder. If you need more height, get a longer ladder. Metal ladders can conduct electricity. Don't use them around live electrical lines or energized equipment. And when climbing or descending, always face the ladder and use both hands to grip the rails or rungs. Don't carry tools and materials up and down ladders. Hand them to a coworker or use a rope or sling instead. Every one of us, new hires and old hands alike, needs to take responsibility for safety. It is for the sake of yourself, your family, and your co-workers. If you become injured, no matter how minor, you must report it to your supervisor immediately. No exceptions. Make sure you know the procedure for summoning local medical emergency help to your job site. Inspect and maintain the tools and equipment you use, and never defeat equipment safety guards and devices. Never drive or operate any vehicles or equipment for which you are not trained and authorized. Do not enter a trench or excavation that is 5 feet or more in depth unless it has been inspected by a designated competent person. Use ladders carefully and remember the 4-to-1 ratio when setting a ladder in place. Take the time to learn and use these few common sense rules. When you do, you can be sure that you're doing your part to reduce or even eliminate accidents from your job site.